Okay, so today we got a few things we gotta do. We have to get into the lab and make a plan. And then we're gonna execute the plan. Let's just do this. Ooh. Okay, that's a good start. Kill at E, type not player. Killed 7 entities, game over. Perfect. Alright, we'll go into creative mode. We are going to change to scoreboard handling for game state. Create a resource pack folder and setup. Remove all sheep when game is over. Go back to creative mode when over for testing. Game should end if player dies before all sheep dies. I think that's pretty good starting logic. So the first thing is first, changing scoreboard handling for game state. Let's take a look at that. Bring this over. We're gonna move away from the lava. Far, far away from the lava. First things first, let's go to init. And we're gonna add a new scoreboard objective. Scoreboard objectives, remove game state. Copy that line by holding Control, holding Shift and pressing D. Then we're gonna add game state dummy. Then we're gonna set the scoreboard to game state on the sidebar. Then we add a fake player. Scoreboard players add spleef game state 0. So we're gonna set that to 0. Game state spleef 0. Amazing. Now let's reload. Function spleef init. Now we're on game state 0 for the spleef. Perfect. So now we're gonna do this in here. Execute score. Execute if score spleef game state matches 1. Right? So instead of adding a tag for main players, execute if score total players matches 1. That's perfect. Now, execute if entity at all tag equals playing. Here's what is wrong with this. What if the player who has a tag of playing goes offline while the game is running? And when the game ends, they come back online. This will start running again and keep running because they weren't handled in the game state. So we want to take it off an active and dynamic element and put it in something that is run server side. So this is why we're going to keep it in the score. So what we can do here is execute if spleef game state matches 1, run the game. So we need some way to remind what's 1 and what's 0. So we'll say game state spleef game state 0 equals not running, 1 equals running. This will be our reminder for later. So now, unless entity scores playing, we're going to do unless score spleef game state matches 0. So this is actually an if else statement, or if unless, which only relies on scoreboard values, which is awesome. It's really good. Now we can also run this way down here, and we're gonna just save it like that. Now we needed to do a couple more things. First things first, instead of having a tag there, we're going to do scoreboard players set spleef game state 1. Perfect. And then we'll go to end game, move this down to the bottom, holding Control Shift and down arrow, out of space. Scoreboard players set spleef game mode 0. So when we start the game, it'll turn it on, and when we end the game, it'll turn it off. That's pretty good. Let's add one more sign. Move all text strings to translate lang files. So let's try this now. Reload, function, spleef, init. Start the spleef. Seems like it's working. Kill all the sheep. And then it should end. Oh, it's constantly running the game over tag. So what did we do wrong? Let's take a look. Execute if total players matches 1 unless score spleef game state matches 0. So total players do match 1. The score game spleef does not match 0. So we need to make it match 0. But the spleef game state, games, we set it to game mode, but we should set it to game state. So now if we reload, boom, done. But the game state is still set to 1. Now it's set to 0. All right, so let's try that one more time. This time we'll just kill the sheep. At E type sheep. The game state went to 0. Server said game over. Perfect. So now we will go to game mode creative. Boop. We did that. Go back to creative mode when testing is over. We'll do that easily. Say game mode creative at all. So we'll reload. Test. Kill everything. We're back in creative mode. We did that. Perfect. Game should end if player dies before all sheeps die. We'll come back to that. So we're going to create a resource pack folder and setup. We should remove all the sheep when the game is over. So we'll do that first. We're going to do this by saying teleport. Do it in game. Make sure we get this right. Teleport at E type sheep. Here in their exact position, but at, let's say, -50. All right, so if we didn't find any sheep, that's fine. We'll just grab a sheep summon. Make sure this works. And they're gone. Now we teleport them down there, and they fall into the void and die. Eventually the void will just kill them. And this makes sure that there's no sound, they just disappear, and then we can move on with our day. So the game will handle the cleanup for us for all the items. If we were to kill them, we'd also have to kill the wool items that they spawn and sometimes the mutton. This way, the void handles everything because the void just attacks every entity until they die. So that we've handled as well. There. Now create resource pack folder and setup. Let's get into our folder. Go to Minecraft. We're gonna minimize this one. Open up tutorial. Open up resource packs. We're gonna make a new resource pack called Nat. Now we're gonna make a new file in here. We're gonna call it pack.mc meta. We'll open this with Sublime. Then it's a JSON file essentially. So we're going to call it pack space pack type, I believe. We're going to have to take a look at this. Pack format. So pack format equals 4. Add a comma. Description. Not a tutorial. Will be the first line, /n. resources and, or let's call it assets and languages. Language files. So that is the pack description. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll do pack. Pack format is what the 113 format is because it includes a few new things. So now we're going to create assets, then Minecraft, then lang. We'll put the lang file in the Minecraft folder. And now we create a new file in here. And this one we're going to rename en_us.json. Not lang, but JSON. It used to be lang, but that's pack 3. This is 113 now. So now we're going to say spleef game over. Testing. The game is over. If we did it right, it should show up in resource packs, assets and languages files, not a tutorial. Boom. Now we'll change the end game to say tellraw at all. Translate. Spleef game over. And we'll put the color red. Why not? Color light purple. So this is a tellraw command. We're using translate instead of text so we can easily start translating everything as we need it. The new JSON format is just basic JSON. So if we wanted to add something, spleef game start, then we can go the game has begun. Easy peasy. Go to start game. We'll say tellraw at all. Translate. Spleef game start. Color light purple. Now we're typing it out because we want to learn how these things work before we start going to a generator. So we'll hit F3 and T to reload the pack. If it reloads, reload to reload the resources. And go start. The game has begun. It worked. Great. So now we will kill all the sheep. The game is over. Your game mode has been updated to creative mode. Perfect. That's exactly what we need. What's more, let's do something a little crazy. So we're going to select just this part. And then, well, we'll just do this whole thing. Why isn't it working? There we go. It doesn't like when I select parts. There we go. All right, so now that we're at the end, I don't like that there's that one space there. It's driving me crazy. There we go. So now I just hit Control D to select multiple instances of this highlighted thing. Now I'll hit end and then type forward bracket, custom name, and then boom. And then in here, translate is that right? Testing. Text. So custom name doesn't seem like it's right. So how do we test to see what the right one is? This is something new. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab a name tag, an anvil, and a sheep. So now drop this down, put the name tag in. We're going to call it sheep check. Spawn the sheep. Now we're going to type data, get, entity, at E type sheep, limit 1. And this will output every bit of NPT data that it has. So what we're looking for is our name. So custom name. Custom name did not have a check on it. So that's where we went wrong. So let's get custom name. Start there. We did do the text. This seems like it would be right by now. So custom name, text, let's just pull it out of the launcher. So here's another cool thing we can do. We can take all this information, bring it in here. And I know it's listed as purple. Custom name, text. What did we do wrong that this is doing right? Custom name. Oh, I see. We did this wrong. So what it should be is like that, because the back escape needs to come before the quote. And the reason why we're back escaping is essentially this is MBT data, and it doesn't really handle the rest of it very well. So that's how we kind of problem solve having the wrong NPT tags. And we're going to do this again in a second when we look for color 0B. So now that we have this, we'll do color 0B, then 1B, another B, if we can even type it right, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, 6B, 7B, 8B, 9B. And then we get 10, and then we're going to call this custom name test texting. We are going to call this, if we can get it right, get over here. We're going to call this translate, and we're going to call this one spleef sheep name 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Beautiful. Now, when we reload, go into game, clear all our items, the game has begun. Every different sheep is a different color, and now they have a new name, spleef sheep name.0. So now we can go over to enus, and we're going to type spleef sheep name 0 testing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'll take away the last comma. Do it again. There we go. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, if we F3 and Q, F3 and Q, reload resource packs is F3 and T. Now when we reload the resource packs, and it takes forever. It takes so long. Come on. Come on. There we go. Testing. 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 Amazing. We did it. Alright. Now we can start changing these to names of people we know, like Chigabov and Chevin and Rixiot and Etho and J. Ryan Miller and Mavis and Bunsey and Charlie, I don't know a Charlie, and American McGee. And we'll call this one Carmack. Now, if we reload the resource pack again, of course, it'll take forever. Boom. Charlie. J. Ryan Miller. American McGee. Jigarbov. Jevin. Mavis. Etho. Rixiot. Alright. We can spleef all of them. That's amazing. Get. That's pretty good. Now we have full control, and we have a new language pack that we can control all text and language from. The game is over, but our items did not get clear, so we need to, we are already in creative mode. So create a resource pack. If the game moves all strings to translate file, we did that. One more thing we need to do. Let's close all this stuff. Open up endgame function. We're gonna go clear at all. That's pretty good. And then we'll type reload. Start the game again. And we're gonna kill all the sheep. And the game is over. Our items have been cleared. And it seems like all the sheep still exist here. So let's kill at E. Type item. Done. Alright. So game should end if the player dies before all the sheep dies. So scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, game state. Not game state, players. So here's what we need to figure out. Every player needs to be alive. So we need to figure out what would get them to be alive. So let's do scoreboard, objectives, players, add, scoreboard, objectives, add, health. Health. That's good. So we're going to add a new objective called health. This is a pretty basic way of doing it. Or you know what? Let's try it this way. Let's remove this first. Remove health. Okay. Data get entity Moesh. So now we can check to see if health 20 equals 20 FPS. So execute if entity Moesh if at all NBT health 20.0 F. Test pass count 1. Perfect. So what we can do with this is go to main and say if at all execute store result score players if entity because we can't do a matching in the NBT tag. At least I don't think we can. So we can store the health in the scoreboard, or we can just use the scoreboard as it already is. All right, let's add the scoreboard. This one seems like it's going to be the easiest. So now we'll just go up to players, remove health, add health, health. Now, when we initialize something, we have to make sure the player actually gets damaged. Otherwise, they're not going to register. So we need to do... Let's reload first. Function spleef init. Scoreboard, objective set display sidebar, health. So we're not registered on the health board yet. Game mode, adventure. And then when we take damage, now we're registered on the scoreboard. But that's not ideal. We don't want it done that way. So health equals 1 or greater. Let's see. We gotta figure out scores. We gotta figure out what scores is. Scores, health is 1 or greater. Can we do it that way? There we go. So that's good. So players exist if scores equals 1 or greater. What we can do is move all of this into game. Yeah, spleef game state match equals 1. If total players matches 1, yeah, we can actually end the game in here. So all of this can be brought together. I think we'll keep the sheep in the final game now. If the spleef game state matches 1, run spleef game. So we will run the spleef game. Where's the game? Where did I put the game? Am I crazy or is there no game here? Where did the game go? Lab, data, Minecraft spleef. Are we missing the game? Function. Oh, there has been no game until this point. Alright, well, we can fix that. So we'll make a new file. We're going to call it game.mc function. That's why. That makes sense. So it's going to actually do everything. And then it's actually just going to run, yeah. And then it'll run the end game if it wants to end the game. Cool. All right. So the one thing that we need to do to get this going is after we put them in adventure mode, we have to effect give at all absorption. And we'll give it for 2 seconds, and we'll give an amplifier of 4, and we'll hide the particles. Now that we've done that, we can reload, and maybe nothing will break. Maybe nothing will break. Nothing had broke. Nothing's breaking. So far, nothing has broken. Try that. All right. Do that. Done. And the game is over. And it's worked. It worked the first time. All right. The game should end if the player dies before all the sheep dies. So that's why we added that. Now we have a game function that is outside the main function. And we write a command who would detect a player who wants to start the game. We're gonna come back to that for sure. Not today though. So execute. So execute if. Oh no, not effect. Execute if score. So we'll do scoreboard players, objectives, set display sidebar, players. No, players tab complete. So there's 1 players and 0 sheep. So execute if players. Now we'll do this. Yeah. If players equals 0, matches 0, if spleef score spleef game state equals matches 1. No, that's right. 0 run. Yep, that's right. So now it's going to run the function if any of these two things are true. So if total players matches 1, so if total players just matches 1, so total is sheep plus the players. If it matches 1, unless the score spleef game state matches 0, actually, we can just remove that. Run the end game. Yeah, because it'll run end game. So if total players matches exactly 1, and if players matches 0, run the end game. So what this is going to do is we die. The game should be over. The game's not over because players is still counting total players as 1. So if scores at all health equals 1, if it's 1 or greater, how about 21 or greater? Test failed. So if the test fails, it shouldn't be running the game at all. Kill at E type sheep. Alright, so now that should be working. Why wouldn't it be working though? If scores health equals 1 or greater. Alright, so we need to see what happens when we die. Scoreboard objective set display. Sidebar health. Okay, let's start the game. So our health is 40, then our health is 20. Now our health should be, it's 0. So if the health is 1 is 0, the game should have ended. Right? If entity at scores health equals 1 or greater. Yeah, that should have worked. So execute if players matches 0. Because we're adding total players to players. Yeah, that's right. So let's look at the other scoreboard. Scoreboard objective set display sidebar players. Let's add it. Let's make it 21 and reload. It's still counting the players. Oh, no, the game is over. So now, if we set it to 1, 0, reload, maybe we didn't reload, that's why we had the issue. So now, go to 0, it should count players as 0, the game is over. We did it! Alright, so the game dies if players dies before all the sheep dies. Try it one more time. Watch the scoreboard of the sidebar. Players equals 0 because it cannot detect any players with a health of 1 or more. And we respawn in creative mode in where we need to be. We did it. Alright. So let's do some committing. Close out Minecraft. And we'll open up Get Kraken. Close out some of these. It's a pretty good day for this. Come on, Get Kraken. Oh, it's taking forever to open. What did we change for options? We enabled the resource pack. We added the resource pack. We added the MC meta for it. Created nat resource pack and enabled it. added language file with added language file. Language, yeah, language text. Strings. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Now, what do we do here? Stage the file, look at it. Moved endgame message to tellraw. Clear items, put in creative, kill sheep. Yeah. We'll set creative, and then we can keep the commit on one message. So we did this, and we also removed it from main. So we have to remember that we did all these things. So we'll stage these two files at the same time. We'll say moved game functions into separate file. Changed state handling to scoreboard to score. Good. So we created the new thing. This is actually something separate we did. So we're gonna unstage this and do this in two parts. First, we're going to do stage this, stage this, stage this, stage this, and this. Reset the game sidebar to the game state. Perfect. And we'll remove that as well. So first, what we did is we added the game state. Then we're gonna add that there. That we actually did do both. Stage both those things. So moved game state to scoreboard variable. Boom. All right, now for start game, give the effect. Players now register on health scoreboard when starting game. Right, so this is something important that is a weird quirk of Minecraft. When you add the scoreboard health, it doesn't immediately register until there's a change in health for the players. So we added the absorption effect, which affects the player's health by giving them more health, doubling their health technically, for 2 seconds. And then it dissipates, which means there's another change in their health. We did it right after game mode adventure, so we know the players that are playing are in adventure mode, which is exactly what we want. And this is how we get them registered on the health scoreboard. Then, yeah, start game, we did a bunch of other things. Made custom names for sheep, added start message. Commit that change to that file. Added read only health scoreboard type. Then we'll stage these two files, leveled at and region.00. Time spent in world ticked up. Made edits to project board. Commit those two changes, and we are done.